Hello, and thank you for studying Psalm 82 with me. This is the book that we are studying out of. And this psalm admonishes judges who deal unjustly with the pauper or the orphan while coddling the rich and pocketing their bribes. They act as if they do not know or understand the law. So one of the seven Noahide laws, which are the laws from the Bible for all of creation, is to establish courthouses and judges, basically a justice system. So we need to self-police ourselves, so to speak. And there is such a concept that one who is judged below is not judged above. There's no such thing as double jeopardy. So if somebody commits murder and receives, let's say, a sentence of life in jail and he serves out that sentence, then when he dies, he doesn't have to be punished again for that murder. But what happens is when the justice system becomes corrupted with briberies, God gets very angry. And that's why he destroyed the temple in Jerusalem twice, because the judges started being corrupted. Instead of judging accurately according to biblical law, they were showing favoritism because of financial bribes. So in Psalm 82, verse 1, there's the phrase Be'edat El, and it's translated in different as different things. One of the translations, which I found to be the most accurate translation, it was in the congregation of God. But in another place, I saw it translated as council of judges. So how can we reconcile congregation of God and council of judges for the same two-word phrase? Well, when people convene in the name of God and they judge justly, meaning fairly without taking bribes, it is as if God himself has judged. So it says here in the commentary, the psalmist reiterates that God sits among the judges as if he were judging as well. Alternatively, among the judges themselves, he, God, renders judgment and punishes them, meaning the judges, if they veer from justice. So it's very difficult to be a judge or an attorney down here because they are also held responsible for any mistakes that they make above. So for example, if a judge rules incorrectly in a court case, or if a lawyer represents somebody who is guilty and gets them off of the hook, they have to answer for those things in heaven. So I'm kind of glad I didn't become an attorney. All right, verse 3. It says, render justice on behalf of the needy and the orphan, deal righteously with the poor and the destitute. So the needy and the orphan, like let's say the homeless and people who have nobody to stand up for them and to fight for them. So it's easy to take advantage of those types of people in those situations because they're perceived as weak in society. So it's very important to uphold justice in those cases. And at the same time, not having favoritism because of mercy for those people. So the judge might be overly lenient in those cases as well. So it's important to be fair in every case, regardless of the circumstances of the disputants. In verse 3, it says that it can also be read as a metaphor or an allegory, according to this. The verses can be read as an exhortation for us to appoint our souls, not our bodies, as the authority over our actions. How long will you let the wicked, meaning the body, be the judge and voice of persuasion, ever showing partiality towards the evildoer? Why do you give such prominence to the desires of the body? Render justice to the needy, meaning let the humble, godly soul be the one to render justice. Allow its voice to be heard above all. So there's this concept of the evil inclination and the good inclination, or in Judaism, we call it nefesh elokit and nefesh behemit, the godly soul and the animal soul. So the godly soul wants to do the right thing, spiritual pursuits, etc. The animal soul or the bodily soul or the evil inclination wants to overindulge in bodily pleasures such as eating, drinking, lust, etc. So we want to tame our animal soul and make it submissive to the godly soul. In verse 5, it says, but they, the corrupt judges, do not know, and they do not understand. They go about in darkness. And then it says, therefore all the foundations of the earth tremble. And the word yimotu, which means tremble, shaking, or unstable, it's spelled with a tet, but if you put instead a tuf, it sounds the same. Yimotu, a tet and a tuf both have a T sound, and mot means die. Therefore, all the foundations of the earth die. So a big earthquake, trembling, like death to the sanctuaries of God and the holy places is what happens when justice becomes corrupted. Also, a side note, the earth trembling is a recurring theme that I've seen in Psalms. And on October 7th, the day that there was the massacre in Israel, there was also a massive 6.3 earthquake in Afghanistan where over 1,000 people died. And it happened at 11:11 a.m. So the earth trembling is a recurring theme. When God is angry, there's all kinds of natural disasters. It says, because of their corruption, the foundations of the earth tremble, threatening to destroy the earth. For as our sages teach, justice is one of the three pillars upon which the world endures. So justice is necessary for the world to remain in existence. And lastly, verse 6, this psalm only has 8 verses total. It says, I said that if you rule justly, you are like angels, supernal beings, all of you. When I commanded you to implement justice, I said that you would thereby be like angels who are immortal. So doing justice and ruling fairly is extremely important. When judges rule fairly, they are called Elohim, celestial beings, the same name given to angels. So the key take-home message for today is standing for fairness, justice, and not being a slave to our animal soul. So that actionable is to follow your godly soul as much as possible and tame your animal soul. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you. And I look forward to studying more Psalms with you. Bye-bye.